Thank you for this time that we come together with Noah and myself and being able to bring to our audience the things that they need, the tools and that they may need to understand operations in the industry. We just thank you for wording our mouth with wisdom and giving us the knowledge to come forth. And we ask this in Yeshua's name we pray and we receive it. Amen, amen, amen.
Um,
Amen. Thank you for that.
yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
Okay, I feel much better now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Coach McGee here, and I am here with Mr. Noah Nuru of Medivance, and he is here to share some of his experiences in the operations of NEMT because he has an extensive history in NEMT in the NEMT industry, and he's here to bring some of that knowledge and help you all to understand what operations actually looks like in the NEMT industry. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to get this video up in the algorithm. And we're just going to go ahead and start talking. So thank you, Noah, for being here.
Of course. Pleasure. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor.
I appreciate it. I know your time is short today, but I appreciate it. Hi, Ty. Thank you for being here. Ty says, fire.
So,
So, Noah, can you please tell us a little bit about your history and about what you've seen in the NEMT industry in the last couple of years so that our audience has a good understanding of it?
yeah, of course. So I've been in the industry for I like to say 15 years because my parents started their first business in California in 2007, 2008. So that's when I started to really become aware of what NEMT was. It wasn't until later that I later adopted NEMT when I moved to Texas, and generated our own company and started working towards, building our own empire essentially in the NEMT business. But so yeah, about over 12 years I've been doing this, for a really long time. I know I'm young, but that's kind of the backstory behind why. And so yeah, I've been able to generate over 8 figures in NEMT since the time of starting till now, and then recently transitioned more into technology outsourcing because I feel like this was the staple and what allowed us to not just make a lot more money than everybody else, but also our profit margins was higher than everyone else's. And then I had the freedom of not having to work and deal with phone calls. So outsourcing, and Medivance is essentially outsourcing using, Philippines or anyone from a different country where the wages are less. Outsourcing something that's deep for me because it's something I've implemented throughout all of my businesses. And so seeing my dad do invoices all day and all night and staying up and answering calls, and it just never really gave him the peace of mind. And for me, business is all about, peace of mind, having that freedom, to kind of do whatever we want. So at a price that makes sense. So obviously locally, it's a lot more difficult. And so that's kind of where the concept came from early on. And then when I came to NEMT, it just became a good mix, especially now with technology, dispatching softwares. Everything can be done remotely. So
That's
it's been
right.
amazing.
That's right. So let me take us back a little bit because I know when you say you had 8 figure business operation, people gonna say like, "What? What? How did you get there?" Because I don't think I haven't met anybody yet in the industry that had an 8 figure operation. So tell us a little bit about how you all managed to scale, starting out and doing those type of things.
It goes down to operations, right? It goes down to systems. Most people that don't have an 8 figure, revenue throughout the business, again, yearly, we made it between 3 to 5 million, but throughout the extension of our businesses, just want to make sure that's clarified. But it,
Three to
it
five
starts,
million. Okay.
yeah, it starts,
Yearly.
it
Okay.
starts with systems, right? You have to have a system in operations that allows you to scale. If not, then more becomes just more work. It becomes more of a stressor, more. So you have to, I mean, we had a prayer, right? We have to create enough space for the blessings to come in that won't then take us in our personal selves and deter us from wherever we're supposed to go. You know what I mean? So it's having those systems in place and then allowing the rain to kind of just flow through. And so that starts with organizing, having policies and procedures, just really being specific with like training drivers and then outsourcing it, giving it to someone else so that you can then focus on growth and relationships and making more money. So essentially, that's what I love to do. And then you also hire people because now you're empowering others, right? So it's like everyone wins. And so that mindset, as opposed to what we kind of see a lot now, is like, people that had jobs previously, and then they transition NEMT, and then they get stuck in the broker model where now they're just a self-employee. They're just working harder and more. It's almost better that you just stayed at your job, because now you're not really seeing profit. You're just seeing money, right? And I'm in it for profits. That's something I learned the hard way. It's not about how much you make, it's how much you take home, right? That could
That's
be
right.
that could be deception as well. So it's just learning all that. I learned all of it the hard way. Some of it through my dad, but a lot of it through trial and error. And that's why, I feel very strongly about, my beliefs as it comes to like how to operate.
That's right. And I think that's how you and I met. I know that's
Yeah.
how you and I met. You were in a Facebook group, not even my Facebook group, and you were like, NEMT providers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but this, and this. And I was like, yes, somebody else said it besides me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
So
absolutely. And I'm definitely not, let's make that, I'm not sorry. This is the truth. And so I feel like it's important for me to deliver that message to people,
that's right.
because it's damaging. We see the road that it could lead to. And a lot of people maybe are listening to this now or later, but if you've been in NEMT for 2-3 years and you have dealt with brokers, and brokers are your primary, source of income, you're going through it. Like it's not going to get better if you don't change the way you're doing it, right? And that's kind of the services you provide in road mapping. And so it's like, these are jewels. These are valuable jewels that we're telling you based on experience. So it's
That's right.
important.
I was actually talking to one of my clients earlier this morning, and she's getting some things going. She's doing excellent. When I tell you, I said, girl, I'm so proud of you, because you talking like a business owner, you talking like an entrepreneur, you concerned about the right things. And I just see how important. And she was like, I have to keep my job because it has my benefits and everything else. So I'm going to need someone to help manage my operations. And I was like, girl, I can't wait to teach, to link you up, network with Noah. But that's one of the things that I have noticed a lot, is that NEMT owners are so concerned about getting with the brokers and getting Medicaid pay. And I'm like, y'all, there's so many other individuals that need the service, who are willing to pay for the services, but y'all tied up with these folk Medicaid brokers running you wild. And then after 3 years, your vehicle got over 100,000 miles on it. You like, okay, well, where's my 6 figures?
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. No, you're right.
You're broker dependent.
Yeah.
And so being able to, I know some of my my students, they're like, well, I don't know if I can afford to outsource my operations. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to pay someone $15-$16 here in our community, it might just be more beneficial to have someone else handle the operations. Can you tell us a little bit more about how your company handles operations and those systems that you help to take care of?
Yeah. No, those are very good points that you made. I think when it comes to going back to the brokers, I think that's, again, a very huge mistake people make. And it's because it's easy, right? Having the brokers, relying on it. But it's going to be a hot take, but it's almost like you're being pimped out in your business. You're being like, they have theirs and it works for them, and you're just grabbing whatever, as opposed to kind of what you're saying, when you build out a plan. And it's good to use brokers. Use them for leverage for your plan, not for their plan, right? Use them, especially if you're new to the industry. Brokers will tolerate almost anything. So use that to make your mistakes and learn about the game, learn about NEMT. But in the process, as you're learning, you're developing relationships with hospitals, facilities, schools around you, right? You're building that network. So when it's time to deliver, you've already made the mistakes, the brokers. And now the money is not the focus, it's the value you got from the experience. Because if you just kind of equate the money with what they're giving you, it's not worth it, right? And so your goal is to want to make brokers a small piece of your business operations. I like to say between 10 to 15%. They fill in the time gaps to keep your drivers busy, keep them happy, because the drivers want to be mobile. But apart from that, if you're relying and depending on them for money, it's not going to happen. And so it's important that outsourcing is done immediately. And that is because it sets your foundation. One, I think we like to overpay ourselves to start with, as opposed to taking that money and reinvesting it into our team. Because it's like, what do you value most? Do you value your time or do you value money? You know what I mean? Like, and if you really value money, you're gonna wait for the big money to come.
That's right.
You're not just picking up crumbs. You're taking it. And so that's when I going back now, I would start with a VA part time. It's like $5 an hour. Everything that becomes tedious to my time, that's taking away from the relationships I could be building. That's kind of what I outsource. So dispatching, phone calls, day to day, applying for credentials, just doing all that stuff that's going to make you money, but you don't want to learn necessarily. You don't need to, right? So start with that. And then you have to be in an entrepreneurial mindset. You have to let go of micromanaging. You know what I mean? You have to let go of trying to do everything. You have to know everything, but then understand it enough to teach it to somebody else. Because that's the only way you're going to grow. I mean, Jeff Bezos isn't still doing boxes. You know, Bill Gates, these guys, they're stuck on the ideas. And that's where eventually you want to be. You want to be ideas and relationships.
That's right. I think those are such awesome points because I think in entrepreneurship, there's that motto that says to fail fast.
How fast.
Fail fast. So, I know there, even in my business as a consultant, I try all kinds of different stuff. I see what hits, if we're talking about brokers and that hits, then that's the next video. If we're talking about Medicaid, and that hits, then that's the next video. So you're constantly trying different things to see what exactly individuals need. You learn, and then once you learn it and you have an understanding of it, if you don't need to do that in your business, you can send it to someone else. Then go ahead and send that to someone else. But it again comes down to that entrepreneurial mindset, to understanding that when you first start in business, you are actually trading your time for value, not for money.
There you go. That's a different mentality than being an employee. You're used to cashing out for your time, but exactly. Your value.
You're exchanging it for value. So you have to make sure that everything that you do, and that starts with business planning and financial projections at the beginning, and coming in it with a clean slate, having that bad credit fixed up, and coming in it as a true entrepreneur, not just somebody that's trying to make a quick dollar.
Yeah. It comes at a cost. I mean, we see it.
That's right. And I just appreciate it because, like, again, when I was talking to my student this morning, and she is so amazing. I mean, she is so amazing. Her tickets with Peaceful Rides. I got to give her a shout out in Virginia. She said, she's going through some things, life happens. And she was like, I got this SBA loan lined up. I got this line of credit lined up, but I know that I'm going to need this amount of money, $400,000. And this is built, my old business plan was built on just saying what I could do with 100,000, but I don't need that. I need 400 because this is what I need to do. So she told everybody, hold on, got me back on board. We fixing up the business plan. She's going to go over there to Adam to get those projections settled, because she's got to make sure that she gets the operation side of her that's included in those finances. So that's the importance of planning. I say all of that.
Oh my God. Planning is so important. 100%. I agree with everything you're saying, because it allows you to have clarity in where you're going. And if you don't have that, business it's hard. I know we just did a prayer, so I don't want to cuss, but it's hard. It's not easy. And so what that means is there are times where you are emotionally going to be overwhelmed. And when you are overwhelmed emotionally, you make irrational decisions. And those decisions can cost your business big time. If you don't have a plan that you can then go back to and say, look, this is how I'm feeling. I need to sit down, but this is where I'm going. So I got to stick with the program. And if I don't, I know the reason why I failed, right? But if you have no plan, then you're reacting to everything around you. You react to all the businesses, all the trips being thrown into your portal. You're accepting all of it. There's nothing. It's just chaos. And you're just hoping the check comes on time so you can live another month, right? Like it's chaos. Like, it's not fun. Like,
that's right.
It's not. If it's not fun, it's not working. So I think planning is essential. You got to have a roadmap. And again, you can refine that. You should, as you learn, you should be refining it. Every quarter or whatever. But you need a plan. You need to know where you're going and believe that it's going to lead you to what you want, right? Whether it's 1 million, 10 million, it's not by accident. You don't just become successful on accident. You know what I mean? There's a system to it. So
that's right. I know the last time we talked, before today. You had mentioned that book, The Richest Man in Babylon. So,
Yeah, yeah,
boy, I downloaded that thing. I was like, oh my
yeah,
goodness, I
yeah.
wish I did have this.
No, that's good. No, because that's good because that goes into kind of financial planning, and
That's
that's
right.
another Achilles heel we have as business owners. We don't know how to manage our funds, and
No,
that's something I learned. Again, I lost lots of money doing that. The Richest Man, that's one of the books I go to because it teaches you a simple system, but it's effective. You need to have a plan when it comes to what you're going to do with your money. You know what
that's
I
right.
mean? Like you need to do your balance sheets. You got to see how much money you're making, your profits. When you do rates with the brokers, does it make sense? If I'm not making money, why would I start a business? And then if that's the case, then like what is one van to 10 vans? That's like negative times. You know what I mean? Like it's just do the math and it has to make sense on paper before
It's-
you can really actualize. And some people just jump into it and
yeah,
then they start drowning. And then they're
yeah,
like, God help me. It's like, no, you didn't
yeah.
help yourself. Like you gotta help yourself first.
That's why I said I'm so glad your name was Noah because it helped me to remember that there was only 8 people on that boat.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Hopefully, it's gonna be more in this group. Hopefully, there's gonna be more listening. But yeah, I mean, but
oh,
I know that
definitely here,
eventually,
definitely here.
yeah,
Only
I know
'cause
eventually the rain is coming, right? If we're gonna talk like that, then the rain is coming for NEMT. The
it's
industry is changing. I'm adapting. Like I like to be ahead of the curve. Wheels, autonomous vehicle, like all that is really happening now. And so people aren't adapting to AI, and they keep fighting the changes that are Uber, rideshare, they're coming, they're here, but like they're gonna come even more. So it's important that, yeah. I mean, I like to
I
do.
I had I actually to speak on that Toby and one of my other students in Texas had called me and told me how competitive it was in Texas, and you're in Texas so you're talking about it also, is how Uber and Lyft are purchasing up these little mom and pops
Yeah,
and they NEMT companies, and they're putting them on their payroll.
yeah.
So you're not creating a business, you're creating yourself a job.
Oh my God, yes, you are. It's a different kind of job, but it's a
That's it. But
job.
you gotta work harder at.
Yeah,
You gotta do customer service all the
yeah,
time, and now if you're working for Uber and Lyft, now if something goes wrong with that contract, where are you?
100%. Yeah, and that's another thing, right? Relying on just one contract. My
That's right.
brother says it, all the time. Brother-in-law, one is very close to none.
That's
That
right.
it's too close to none. So diversifying, getting multiple streams of income. We're not limited. This isn't 2005 anymore, where vehicles can only do NEMT. You can do
That's right.
courier services. You can do school routes. You can do, medical. There's so much you can do with vehicles nowadays that like you have to begin to think, how do I make
Outside
the
the box.
most out of this, right? Like so. You,
Yep, I tell my nurses all the time,
yeah.
and you are a service within yourself. The
Hmm.
transportation just needs to be an adjunct to it. If you do mental health, then you should be providing a mental health service. If
Yes.
if you have an OB or rehab
Yeah.
facilities or things like that, you
Yeah.
need to be focusing on packages that
Yeah.
assist those specifically for those services. That's your self-pay clientele. You got them already wrapped up, and you can target the higher tier customers because you have that specialty.
100%.
So, it's just all about planning.
Yes. Yeah. And knowing yourself, knowing what you're good at, knowing what the market is telling you, right? Like you said, you got to be open to those opportunities. If you're just focused on NEMT, you won't be able to see these sub niches within NEMT that are going to make you the most money. You know what I mean? Like the deeper you can go down, the more there is because nobody else is tapping into those markets. So like start here, but like, play it down. And I think, uh, again, I think it requires a transformation of mindset. This self-employee mindset. We see it in the trucking industry. I mean, it's burning to a crisp with when it comes to that, right? And that's what's coming to NEMT. If you don't adapt, and I don't want to like sound,
It's the facts.
but
It's facts.
yeah, like I don't want to be the bearer of bad news,
I do. Y'all better watch out. Y'all better get prepared because it's coming. I saw what happened
yeah,
in trucking. It's coming for
it's
y'all.
coming. Like
I'm
I was in
telling you.
trucking, and like I see it because medical is always the last of the industries in the U.S. and the government to transform, right? So it's coming, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I also want to be validating to those who are seeing it or maybe listening to this, and they're like, "Yo, this is what I've been thinking. I've seen, but nobody's talking about it." Why? So like, it's important. These things are coming. These changes are happening right now. And if you're not, if you're not suiting yourself up, then 2-3 years, you're out of work. I
That's
can almost
it.
assure you, you're out of
That's
work. I
it.
mean, that's
That's it. And
yeah,
that's what, that is a cycle of a business. And
yeah,
it's the life cycle of a business, that 1 to 2, 3 years. And that is what we're trying to get you guys to understand, is
yeah,
that it is a lucrative business.
yeah,
You can make 8 figures in the business.
yeah,
Apparently, I ain't
yeah,
never seen it, but Noah did.
yeah,
But we see it, and we know that there are providers who are doing it. But what it takes is to make sure that you are setting yourself up correctly and
yeah,
coming to the business prepared. There
yeah,
is no time, there is no problem with saying, hold on, wait a minute, let me catch my bearings, let me make
yeah,
sure everything is lined up, let me make
yeah,
sure that I got a complete strategy before I enter this thing. There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. It's not going anywhere. So, but know that there are these systems that need to be addressed, and some of them, like operations, once you get the gist of it, let somebody else do that.
yeah. Exactly. Hire an operations manager, or maybe you start hiring people that already know it better than you, right? You want to have a team that's smarter than you. You want
That's
to know what you need, but you want them to be the best at executing that, right? So, and that's what we do. Medivance, we specialize in NEMT. So we have operations managers, dispatch man. We have all of that, and they probably know more than you. I'm be honest, because I'm teaching them. So, that's important, and so you don't have to go through that process of training them to. I understand, right? And there's also these not false, but outdated preconceived notions when it comes to hiring overseas, whether that be the language barrier,
Mhm.
technological understanding, all that is gone. I mean, if you call any other Fortune 500 company at night, they're answering over there. You know what I mean? They're answering because they see the system as well. It's like, why pay 5 times as much plus benefits, plus taxes, plus headache? They don't even want to work hard here anymore. You know what I mean? Like when people are hungry overseas for like pennies on the dollar and they love it and they do
Yep.
good. So it's like you just gotta adapt yourselves and be open to the opportunity. Understand, it's a process, learn it. But ultimately know that it works and see that everyone that's successful is implementing this in some sort of a way. And if you're not successful, then you got to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing or what are they doing that I'm not? And I'm letting you know this is one of those things. So, um,
SWOT, SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis. Yeah. So, yeah. And that tied with sales, right? I think that's essentially what every owner needs to be, is an advocate for your business. You got to be the one to go out there, build those relationships, build those trusted relationships with facilities, hospitals, understand how to do that instead of, again, wanting everything to come to you. That's a self-employee mindset. Again, we want to be entrepreneurs. We're assertive. We are taking the initiatives when it comes to that, and we have value to give, right? So that's the difference. And I know a lot of people going to hear this are just not going to do it, but there are a lot that are. So those are the people that I want to like talk to, and everyone else. You'll see the rain clouds coming. You'll be like, maybe, and then start sprinkling. What I mean? Like they're going to be where they're at. So, but everybody else that really wants to take this to the next level, this is the way. What Lena's teaching, what I'm giving you, these are gems. These are gems. You know what I mean? I could charge a lot of money for this, but I want to give back. I want to give value because that's part of the system of growth.
That's right. Well, no, we so appreciate you being here. I love it. You have truly given us so many gems to operate off of. And I think for everyone to be able to see that, yes, this can be a successful business, and
Absolutely.
it can be, but it just has to be approached with an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
And you have to have a plan, a strategy to go in there. And
100%.
I thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here. And those of you who are interested in coming and getting that roadmap with me, come on, get to my website, www.nemtstartup.net. Let me show you how to do this thing the correct way so that you can get networked in and we can all rise together. How about that?
100%, 100%. And we could do something maybe where when they come to you, they can get like a percentage or discount off of just starting with the VA, just to
That's
get their feet wet, right? So we'll talk about that, but I think that'll be easier for everybody.
That would be awesome. And I've got a couple of clients right now that I'm ready to send your way. I was waiting for us to do this, and I'll get them on over there to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alana.
All right. You have a
Adios.
blessed day.
Thank
Thank
you
you
as
so
well.
much. All
Take
right.
care.
Be blessed.